Well, aloha, ladies and gentlemen. It's all out war. NXT battle for supremacy shows coming up. They've got NXT's got No Mercy on Saturday, which I forgot, by the way. Um, that is real soon. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm actually available, which has historically not been the case for these. But I don't have a show that week.
You know,
Um,
me too. I think we'll be doing a show.
that's crazy.
How
And
about that?
we've got Bound for Glory coming for TNA. So if you know all the booking stuff that has to go into this, if you know the championships are on the line on both shows, you know that no title is going to change hands here. But they have been surprising us by having championships absorbed into one another. So anything was possible. But indeed, this was a screw job finish. Either maybe a Williams win by disqualification, but I don't think we're supposed to think about it too much. The bell got called as Mike Santana attacked Rick Williams, and we had an all-out brawl with NXT and TNA. 11 minutes and 49 seconds. It was the longest match of the show by 1 second.
Whoa.
And then we had a big yes, schmaz. Steve, I haven't said the word yet, but I was about to. And with the schmaz in the background, we had a lot of people here. Steve Macklin, the inspiration. Many people too numerous to mention. The Zayas. That's not what they're called because it's Zaya Brookside and Laying Lee. Is that?
I think
Lee?
that sounds right. That sounds right.
Yeah. Women who have changed their hair just enough that it takes just a second for me to remember who I'm looking at. Happened with Billy Kay also, who's not called that anymore. But yeah, lots of former WWE talent on the show. Zach Wentz as well showed up, but a brawl. But in front of that brawl, we had Ricky Saints reaching for that championship that belongs to Obafemi, and Obafemi is so strong in this run that it's really hard to believe that anybody, even Saints, has any shot at this. I would say the one absolutely lead pipe cinch title change this Saturday is Vice over Jane. I think they have put way too much into Vice for that not to be the case. But Saints Femi, I feel like that could really go either way. I would almost say Saints wins, Femi goes north, but they just made Femi front and center on the NXT logo, so I think they think he's going to be there for a while. Steve Repshire also mentions that Matt Cardona was somebody who showed up as well. So there you go. And Ryan Slorio says, I'm still saying that Javon is taking the championship at Stand and Deliver. Yeah, I guess we're not that close to it. We're mid-year from it. We're about 6 months from Stand and Deliver. But another 6 months of Champion Obafemi is definitely possible. So I don't know. I certainly wouldn't write off the date or the person who's beating him there. I definitely think that could be the case. So lots of moving parts in your main event, Nathan Lindberg. Obafemi and Trick Williams. They didn't promote this much during the show, but that's probably because they weren't unifying the titles and they knew it. So they didn't want to say, hey, we're unifying the titles tonight too much.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of figured this was going to be the case. We're going to have some sort of a finish that came to a non-conclusion. Obviously, we've already had a dual champion in JC Jane holding the TNA and NXT titles, so it wouldn't be unprecedented, but nobody's done it for the men yet. There hasn't been a man to hold both companies' titles yet. It would have been historic if this was the case and Trek or Oba did it, but as Kelly said, there wasn't a lot of hype around that. I mean, obviously title for title match, but leading up to tonight, even before we got any of the angles that we got with the TNA wrestlers throughout the course of the night, I had a feeling this was kind of going to be the case. Maybe they'd put it on Oba, but I was really leaning towards some sort of a non-finish. This was something that was telegraphed starting, I think it was last week, perhaps the week before. I don't remember because time is weird. They the TNA wrestlers, kept posting on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it, talking about how it's not fair that NXT is kind of controlling TNA with Trick Williams holding their championship and yada yada, and of course those wrestlers showing up here tonight. Kelly running down a bunch of those names. However, Kelly, I've got a question for you. This is more of a trivia question because you could never remember it at the time. What was Steve Maclin's WWE name?
The Forgotten Guy. Oh God. Oh my God. You knew.
I know
that this man is my kryptonite.
I know, and that's why I'm bringing it up.
I can't remember this man's name or face to save my life. Yet tonight they showed him, and I went, "That's Steve Maclin."
Cutler.
Steve Cutler. Anybody named Cutler, that doesn't stick. So stop giving the guys the name Cutler, because 2 weeks in a row, I have had a tab open that says Dark State team members because I can't remember the white guy's name. Every time I forget it. Thank you, Ryan Solorio, very, very much for this one. By the way, Kelly, listen to your podcast with Wade. I think the wrestler you were thinking of is Frankie Monet. That is correct. It was driving me crazy, and I knew Wade probably wasn't going to help me with that particular with that assist, and because I'm the one who's supposed to know it, and I could not remember her name. That is who I was trying to think of, Ryan. So thank you. Okay, so where are we? Did you?
I was still in the middle of talking. I just had to stop and poke fun at you for a minute, with the Steve Cutler thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Did we decide what his name is? Oh yeah, Cutler.
Yeah, his name is Steve Cutler. Was Steve Cutler? It's now Steve Maclin.
I've forgotten again, even though it was the whole thing.
Oh God, that was great. Anyway, but yeah, it was great. Great to see all those TNA wrestlers. And like I said, as I started to see them show up through, during not just the course of the night, but especially during this match, I had a feeling they were going to be playing into the main event, or into the finish in that main event. And that's exactly what happened. Did you see what happened to the TNA title? Because at the very last scene, you had Oba crawling up as Ricky Saints walked over to the podium with the title on it. Oba kind of crawled up and grabbed it and then held it up high, and that was how we ended the night. But both titles were sitting on that podium, and I didn't see the TNA title. I didn't see who grabbed it either.
I didn't notice. Too much schmaz and too much typing.
Yeah,
because
I'm just curious if maybe somebody grabbed it. If somebody grabbed it, now they're going to proclaim themselves champion, or Mike Santana. I don't know. Mike might have been in the ring. I don't know. I was trying to figure that out at the very end.
I think it just had to be off screen so our two guys could have their moment. So
that could very well be.
I think it's as simple as
Booker T
muddy up the shot if there you go. Yeah, it would muddy up the shot if both championships were there. Okay, that is that match. Anything else on your main, or are we good?
I think we're good.
Okay, Miles Bourne versus Lexus King in a lights out match was your opener, and boy, did they make Vic sound stupid because he kept having to say, "You can barely see these guys," which was real false. You can see them just fine. I had no trouble seeing this match. I even liked watching a match in dark mode. It was not a bother to me. I actually found it kind of refreshing. So the idea that we could barely see them was very dumb, but they had to justify having the lights out match. They said it was the third in NXT history. I did not look up the other two, but I don't know what they were. And I've seen every episode of NXT, so Can't remember. They may even have been on Takeover, and somebody will throw it in the chat or something.
Wendy
I
Chu
love
and
that.
Tiffany Stratton was one.
Okay,
And I don't remember.
I
I'm
guess.
trying to find the other one now. I do remember that one. I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to find the other one, but
Yeah.
oh, Gigi Dolan versus Blair Davenport. Apparently,
Okay. All
yep.
right. So those two women gone. Wendy's in Evolve, so potentially close. And you got Tiffany. Okay. That's that. Born over King, so he gets his win back after the debacle in the blindfold, which was super fun. This was just okay. This lights out match was just a street fight with the lights kind of low. So not so low that you couldn't see it, because that wouldn't be very good TV. Um, Good stuff. Born over King in 11:48. This was your second longest match. And they didn't linger on this. So no idea if Bourne's got bigger things coming. He is not booked for well, I was going to say Bound for Glory, which true, but he is not booked for that other thing. No Mercy.
No Mercy.
Or
Yeah.
as Lexus King. So but I thought this was adequate. Maybe not worth the
Yeah.
NXT chance and This Is Awesome chance it was getting, but it was pretty fine.
I mean, it started the night. It kicked off the night. So I mean, the crowd was an energetic crowd tonight. So I mean, maybe they just wanted to chant for something. And that crowd is also pretty organically behind Miles Bourne, in in the performance center. So it doesn't surprise me, but I completely agree with you. I think the match was perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with it, but like you said, I don't think it necessarily warranted like this is awesome chance and things like that. Nothing against Miles Bourne and Lexus King, just saying. However, I do have to know who the hell designed the stage where you put a power mains lever right next to the entrance door so Miles Bourne can hit it and shut all the power off to the building. What if somebody hit it by accident and you cut all the power off earlier in the night? Stupid design, stupid engineering. I don't know. I kind of like that because you could actually see him shut everything off. But the first thing that went through my head was like, why would you put a lever there? Yeah. No, but I still like this feud. I'm enjoying this feud. It's one of the first things that Lexus King has really done that I think I've kind of started to sink my teeth into. Oh, and this is going all the way back to when he started. It was actually really the promo or the backstage segment rather, where he called Miles Bourne deaf and blind. And I'm like, oh my God, okay, he's playing an idiot here. And of course, it progresses on to a little bit more than just an idiot. But I like what he's doing, and I like what it's doing for Miles Bourne. Obviously they see something in him. They gave him an NXT title shot. And I'm not, and when I say they see something in him, I'm not saying I don't. Yeah, really enjoyed the match, and looking forward to see what's in Miles Bourne's future. Like with Lexus King, he's got a gimmick. He has the family lineage that I don't want to say he falls back on, because I know he doesn't want to fall back on, but he's Brian Pillman's kid. Everybody knows that. Whereas Miles Bourne, he he's got to have kind of build his career a little bit more organically, I think, and his character isn't quite as interesting. I'm going to use the word interesting as Lexus King's. That's probably a good way to put it. That said, though, and I've already talked about it on the show, I do like the direction that Miles Bourne's going, and kind of being, the advocate for special needs and things like that. So thumbs up for me, not on just the match, but the direction of, I think, both of these guys right now. Still don't know what it's going to lead for with Lexus King, because he always tends to lose all of his big moments. But again, gatekeeper, and as long as he's got an interesting character, that he could kind of stay in that role for the foreseeable future.
Talking about who could be the next Miz is something we have done as long as I've been on this show, and I've been on this show since it started. So finding the next Miz is has been a pet project of mine and yours and Tom's and Bruce's and Justin's and Harley's. So that is something we've been trying to do. It could be Lexus King, somebody who loses the feud, but talks himself back into relevance and is irritating enough that people just want to see him get beat, even though he always gets beat. So I think they're both going in a positive direction as well. The next longest match was a 6-man. We had a silly segment early on. Started with Chase U and Andre Chase with a busted face. Cole Custer and somebody Sean Mayer, Sam Mayer.
I just wrote down the NASCAR guys.
Racers. I don't know racers, and I'm not going to learn. And one of them had a mask on, and it was, of course, a mask, a helmet on. And this turned out to be Joe Hendry.
Say his name and he appears.
I believe Cale Dixon took off said Joe Hendry's name, and that happened. So we got a 6-man out of this. Dark State minus Cutler James against Joe Hendry, Cale Dixon, and Uriah Connors. But Dark State won because what Dark State do. 11 minutes and 6 seconds. Saquon Sugars pins Uriah Connors after fights and claws his way back into the ring. But they cheated him, even though he got in his offense. They took advantage and hit him with the assisted power slam. So I don't think the tag championship match at this coming show. We are still just kind of working Dark State up a little bit by little bit. Maybe we'll get a 2-on-2 here again if we haven't already. I don't remember the mold. And there you go. Hendry still kind of figured in, but they didn't muddy up that last segment by having him there. I don't think. I didn't notice Joe Hendry in the last segment.
I don't.
And then sorry, I missed him, but sometimes they don't have big names there because they don't want them to stand out. So anyway, on the 6-man.
Yeah, if anybody in the chat noticed Joe Hendry in that last scuffle, let us know, because I'm actually not sure myself if he was out there. But no, I mean, I like the 6-man tag. This is kind of more of the direction for Dark State that I'm kind of hoping. I was hoping for, to a point. They're starting to do a little bit more comedy stuff, especially, as you said, the white guy. I can't think of his name now either.
Cutler James.
Oh, okay, there we go with the Cutler again. So now I'm never gonna forget that one. But Cutler James, he's kind of got the bit of a comedy shtick. And there was I don't remember who it was, and it's not because I don't remember the name. I just literally don't remember who it was. It did a bit of a comedy shtick a week or two ago too. But they're they are starting to back up the words they're throwing out there. They're starting to be a little bit more dominant and things like that. They're not making splashes in NXT like they originally said they were going to, and causing chaos and anarchy and all of this stuff, much like Retribution did. But I don't think this is nearly as cursed as Retribution was back in the day. I keep comparing the two of them. I don't know, they're easy to compare, I guess. But I don't know. I think if Dark State is continued to be pushed in the direction they're being pushed, and they either don't lean into the comedy stuff too heavy, or if the comedy stuff starts to get organically over, lean into it a little bit if you want to get them over as faces eventually. But I think if kind of given this direction, Dark State could finally do something for one or more of them. I don't know if it's going to be a launching point for all four of them, but maybe for somebody like Saquon Sugars, who's somebody that definitely stands out to me, as well as Dion Lennox, it could be a launching point for them or everybody. But I think we'll give it like another few months and see where they're at, because Dark State's been around now for, I mean, it's got to be at least what, 6 months, if not more, and we're still kind of in that, or at least I am. I'm in this phase where it's like, are they getting pushed to the moon? Aren't they? I don't think they are, but then they kind of keep pushing them a little bit. They put the tag titles on them, things like that. So I don't know. We'll see. But I think in the next few months we'll have a much better idea of the direction for Dark State.
Dak Minger helpfully points out that it is National Great American Pot Pie Day, and I ate pizza like an
Ooh.
idiot. Thanks, Zach. I missed this one.
Chicken pot pie, my 3 favorite things.
Yeah, what are you gonna? Oh, there we go. Okay, so I think, was there anything else I was gonna comment on? I think I'm pretty much good.
CJ, I see you in the chat. I saw the Bailey stuff last night, and I dug it quite a bit.
And I didn't see it yet because I was traveling on a plane coming home, and I got home late, and I haven't had a chance. So there you go.
So it actually kind of plays into a little bit of what that backstage segment between Tatum Paxley and Lyra Valkyria. Lyra kept talking about how she kept making friends and they keep turning on her and stuff. That's exactly what happened last night. She and Bailey had a tag match. I believe, if I can't remember the entire match, but I think it was Lyra cost them the match, and then she like flipped out Jekyll and Hyde on her. I liked it. Kind of see some shades of an evil hugger in there, but yeah, definitely digging it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but CJ says Coachman is an idiot. Coachman never drew a dime. Now, Coachman doesn't have to draw a dime. He's not in a position to do that, but he is an idiot. So I'm with you, CJ. Okay, so next longest match was the speed match. There was a shorter match than this. There were actually 2, if you want to count Paige versus Tavion, but 225. Laney Reed defeats Candice LeRae. So NXT invites the world to be in their speed tournament, and then NXT wins it anyway, even though it is somebody we barely know in Laney Reed. I think Laney is really effectively snotty. Like, I really like her heel persona a lot. So she's very good at that. We don't know a lot more about her yet. I think she's an adequate wrestler. But we haven't seen her in any long form matches, so I don't know what to say yet. But she did beat Candice LeRae with something. Flash knee, was it maybe? Yeah, I think it was. Oh yeah, because they replayed it and it looked like it really caught Candice pretty good. So Laney will be facing Sol Ruka. Ruka and Zarya were on the perch, holding up irritating signs because nobody comes off more heelish in this company than babyface female tag teams. They do it all the time with them. So I don't know. Reed over LeRae in the speed match, 2 minutes and 25 seconds. And I don't know if this is worthy of No Mercy, but it's going to be quick, so it doesn't really matter, Nate.
That's a damn good point. I think it is worthy of No Mercy in the sense that speed is brand new to the NXT brand, and they want to treat it as a big deal, put it on the big show. I'm fine with that. If we're going to have speed, then dive straight into it. I feel like I'm talking about drugs. Dive just straight into it. Yeah, anyway. I don't like the concept. I've said it quite a few times on this show, but like I said, if it's gonna have to be here, then I think try to get it over and try to treat it as a big deal. And I think so far, I think they're doing that adequately. We'll see how it goes. Obviously, once we get a new champion Sol is the champion. I'm thinking of the men, but that's still not even vacant because it's El Grande Americano that's holding it. So, but I don't know which one. One of them. But yeah, when we actually we'll get a definitive winner at No Mercy, and then we'll see where see kind of where they take the speed division. As I just mentioned, we haven't seen the men's champion yet. Will we? Won't we? I'm assuming we're going to see El Grande Americano in NXT for the Speed Championship, or to defend the Speed Championship. It only makes sense unless they strip him of the title or something like that if they want him to do something else. But they could always just throw a mask on whoever happens to be walking through Gorilla and tell him to go out and defend the title. They could do that too. Laney Reed, I agree. Great, snotty, smarky heel. I really like the work she's doing. I think she's good in the ring. Obviously, the last few matches we've seen with her have been pretty quick. With them being speed matches and such. But the company clearly sees something with her. They're pushing her quite a bit, being a new talent. Not necessarily pushing her to the point of winning like the women's title or North American title, but perhaps the speed title off of Sol Ruca. If that does happen, obviously Sol Ruca still has her North American title to defend. I have a feeling that North American title her next defense is probably going to be against Zarya, if not her next, coming up pretty soon. My guess is she loses it to Zarya, but that's just my opinion. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I talked about this match probably longer than it actually took place.
Yes, indeed. Steve Ripcher asked, Americano du jour? Yes, I worked at a restaurant, and I know that this story is like out there, but this did happen once to one of the girls in my restaurant where she gave somebody the soup du jour, and she complained because she said, I had the soup du jour at wherever last week, and it tasted nothing like this, because she didn't know that soup du jour means soup of the day.
Yep.
Yeah.
My sister was a server. My sister is the epitome of dumb blonde. Her words, not mine. And yeah, she one of her first days as a server. We've got chicken noodle soup, blah 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 blah. We've got soup of the day and soup du jour. And she had the entire table just look at her like she had three heads.
Yep. The other one was, if you asked somebody super salad, about 2% of people would say, what's a super salad?
Super salad.
Yes. And so everybody was like, I don't know what you can do about it. And I said, you say salad or soup instead of super salad. And they were like, mind blown. Like, you can do that? I'm like, yeah, man. It's whatever. So, yeah, restaurants dumb all around, that tells you. Didn't miss them, but a lot of good memories. 4 years. Jordan Grace versus Ariana Grace. Loser loses their last name, Nate. Not announced, but I think we can assume it. So Ariana is just going to have to be Ariana, or perhaps Ariana Morella. 2 minutes and 23 seconds. Jordan just hammers Ariana. The only offense they gave her was by attacking before the bell. However, Channing Stacks Lorenzo is winning at life because he gets to be tangled up with Ariana Grace afterwards because something's going on there. Yeah, he broke out and took on the mob just so his next story could be a little love story. And then Blake Monroe had a little battle with Jordan Grace, and we found out that they are going to be in a weaponized cage match. The weaponized cage looks really, really stupid. But we'll see if they can make a good match out of it. We knew they were going to go blood with this thing just because of that segment that Blake Monroe was in last week or the week before, whatever it was. So we knew something like that might happen. But Grace over Grace with Stacks and Blake Monroe, Nate.
I don't know who it was. It might have even been David Miller last week, but somebody last week was like, I think it's going to be a cage match. When's the last time we had a cage match? And it turns out it's a cage match. A weaponized cage match, but a cage match nonetheless. I agree. I think the weaponized cage match is stupid. Call it a cage match and then just have them throw weapons in the ring to start it. And don't hang them up on the side of the cage like it's a convenient toy. I don't know, whatever, that's fine. I am looking forward to that though. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, obviously, I went to what was the name of that PLE I just went to in Lowell, Massachusetts? Yeah, the one that just happened that I went to with Jobin. I don't that one.
The only reason I remember the one I went to is because it's got a gimmick match. So Deadline's easy to remember, but I don't remember what you went to.
Yeah.
Somebody will tell us.
Yeah. Yep. Wow. I went and I don't remember the name of it. There's so many shows to keep track of. Heatwave. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Jobin, on Discord for telling me Heatwave. Heatwave. But yeah, I watched these two live. Have a match live. They've got some good chemistry together. So I'm looking forward to the match. I'm looking forward to that cage match, see what they can do, pull off. I'm just hoping it's not an overproduced and kind of crazy weapon session. We'll see, but I've got high hopes for it. This match itself between Jordan and Ariana Grace. How long did you say it was?
2:23.
Okay, that's kind of what I thought, and I think that went even longer than I expected it to go. Jordan obviously getting a pretty definitive win over her, although Ariana did get a little bit of offense to start it off, which was kind of nice to see. I don't know if Ariana is necessarily going to lose the last name because they acknowledged it, like that they both have the same last name, and then she's like, Jordan Grace is different, and I'll show you. So I don't know. I mean, I think they could continue it on. However, that said, I think Ariana Morella is a much better name than Ariana Grace anyway. So that would be cool. I think that's all I have to say.
Cool. There was one match that was shorter, if you want to count it, because a ref did go ahead and
that's true,
and record the tap out of Ethan Page. So El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr., who was really Tavian Heights, Nate, did get the tap from Ethan Page. They asked, they mentioned, they showed his name, El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr., and then Vic just called him Dr. Wagner Jr., and I was like,
so
no.
They did that. They did that on the last. They did that on the last AAA pay-per-view too.
Boo Earns. Boo Earns.
Yeah, just call him Dr. Wagner.
El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr., son of Dr. Wagner Jr.
Oh, that's right.
It's a lot. So
I forgot. Ariana Grace and Stax are engaged in real life. I forgot that's
are
actually
they?
a thing. Yes. Yes.
God, Stax is winning at life.
Yeah, I knew that, but forgot it until Ryan brought it up.
Wow, that's great. That is so cool for him. I'm high-fiving him in my
And
mind.
not only that, your father-in-law is Santino.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah, lots of laughs to be had at the old family gatherings. Okay, Ethan Page. Do
you think he calls him Stacky Boy?
Yes.
I don't know. I will. Yeah.
I mean, he's got to put the emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Syllable, I know.
Yeah.
It was really hard not to do that. Is there a funny way to do it, Lorenzo? Not really. He'll find it. He'll find it. Okay, Page, Tavian Heights. We keep dancing around it, but we're not talking about it. They're going to have a match, Nate. I don't think that this is a championship changing hands kind of thing. I think Heights wins by having a good match. I just don't get I don't know that they're fully behind him, but I think they will be soon, man.
Now we'll see. I mean, I I don't want to see Ethan's reign come to an end just yet, but it could. He's already a two-time NXT North American champion, so he's got that to hang his hat on. I do feel like they're trying to push Tavion and kind of get him over as that American hero singles competitor. I've already talked about what I think about that. We've had a million of them at this point. Like, I feel like, yes, acknowledge his Olympic lineage and stuff, and then give him something different to do than just be that American hero. But whatever they want to do, it's not my company. But I did like this, the little bit of a swerve, Tavion continuing his feud with Ethan Page, that's now been going on since before Heatwave. I remembered at that time. So yeah, I dug this. Like you said, I'm wondering why they're not calling him El Hijo Dr. Wagner, but maybe he's grown up enough to the point where he's just going to take over the name. We'll see.
All right. We get to some non-wrestling segments. Chief among them, in fact, the crossover segment was JC Jane and Lola Vice. JC got a lot of mic time, which at one point would have been my personal hell. She was kind of okay. I think she did fine out there by herself. This was before the segment that Jasmine Nix got laid out, and she said no big loss, and it was time for her to go anyway. And Lola Vice came out, and Lola did okay. I would have thought a long talk segment with these two would be really bad, and it was kind of fine. I think it did a good job of promoting the match. But the match is still going to be Lola Vice versus JC Jane, and I think that it can only be so good. But whatever. They did what they did. What I loved, is that JC got more and more and more personal. They really drove home the fact that Lola Vice's family is everything to her. So that made we, the viewers, because we can actually put a face on her family, that made us really invested as Lola was getting more and more pissed off and just finally spun around and hit a back fist. And JC did my favorite heel thing in this context, which is to sell it like death, lay down, don't move, just totally, completely out. So really good production on this segment. Amazing that these two would be tapped for the crossover segment, but I thought that this was kind of a best case scenario, Nate.
No, I completely agree with you. I've also been pretty critical of both of them on the mic in the past. JC has come a long way to the point where I feel like she's finally got her stride on the mic. She's still not the strongest person in the locker room on the mic, but by any stretch. But it's not like okay, give Gigi or Mandy the mic instead of JC type of a deal. So I think she's certainly come a long way in that respect. And same with Lola Vice. I mean, obviously, English isn't her first language. I think she does a pretty good job, delivering a promo in English. Sometimes, to me, it still feels like she's reciting lines rather than speaking from the heart. That said, tonight, even though I feel like that feeling was still there to a point, tonight did feel, as Goodfella said in the chat, a bit more personal and authentic for Lola. I do think she kind of pulled off what she was going for tonight, and getting that you're continuing to get that babyface sympathy and talking about her family and her upbringing and things like that. Again, that said, I still think she should be a heel. She is such a great natural heel. I don't buy her as a face. I'm waiting. Basically, like I don't trust her. I don't trust her.
Point might be outreach, because she gets a really, really good face reaction.
Yeah.
From the culture.
That's true.
And that was clear at Deadline. And that was when I was like,
And
I
at
get it
Heatwave.
now. I get it now.
Yeah.
That if you can bring in everybody else to that, that's very enticing. So I think that might be the bigger picture, even though on paper I agree she should be a heel.
Yep. No, and that, like, actually that's kind of what I was going to get at, is I think that's really the only reason that they're kind of going this trajectory with her, which I still think works. I don't think it's a bad direction for her by any stretch, but we've kind of seen what she can do just a little bit. We got a little bit of a sneak peek of what she could do as a heel, and I buy her more as a heel. And because of that, because of, kind of her showing how she, kind of that bitchy side of her, for lack of a better term, there's something about her that I don't trust, and I'm just waiting for her to turn. It may not come anytime soon, but I know it's going to at some point because it's wrestling. Everybody does at some point. Even John Cena, even if it was for about a few weeks and it sucked. Yeah, that said, I am looking forward to the match between the two of them. Not going to be the best match of the night. It's not the one I'm looking forward to the most, but I'm looking forward to this for a couple reasons. And the biggest of which is I've been very critical of both of them, with both, not just on the mic, but also in ring over the years. Less so lately, but I'm really curious to see what they do together, and I kind of hope they put all of the doubts in past Nate's mind to bed.
Cena, of course, was a heel early on in his career, and it was really good.
Dr. Thugonomics,
I
life.
loved that version of him, bringing a lot of inside jokes into it, saying the old John Cena was just a prototype, because Prototype was his name in Ohio Valley Wrestling. Going outside in a graveyard and cutting a rap on Undertaker. I wanted him to beat Undertaker so bad. Like, I knew he wasn't going to. I knew he had no chance at that stage in his career, but God, I wanted him to. That was the heel Cena that should have been a long-time heel Cena, but Vince had dollar signs in his eyes. Okay. What do we have here? Josh Briggs, he got a promoted segment where he cut a promo on Javon Evans about connecting with the fans, and the only thing I want to connect with is your face with my boot. I really liked everything about this. I talked in talking about the state of NXT and who was going to be ready sooner than later, I had a lot to say. I was like, there were a lot of women I would have named, but most of them have been called up. And then, of course, I mentioned Obafemi's going to be a megastar when he comes up. Trick, probably, but they've really jerked him around. And I said Josh Briggs is looking like a probable breakout star to me, more than guys who have been pushed way harder. And I like this segment quite a bit. Just a simple talk segment. And he and Javon just make magic together in that ring as a big versus small. So I cannot wait to see it a second time, Nate.
I agree. I completely agree. And I think it was last week with David that I was talking, and I compared Briggs to Baron Corbin. I feel like he's going to go out there. He's going to give you a great match, as that big man. He's, from all accounts that I'm aware of, he's safe, and he can have a good match with anybody. Like the gimmick or not, I'm not sure yet, because I go back and forth. Mostly every time he puts that stupid shoulder thing on that smokes, I'm like, this is stupid, and it kind of takes me out of it. But overall, I'm digging what they're doing with the overall character development. And he can obviously go in the ring. He knows how to kind of take his character and run with it. So I'm in agreement with you. I think I think the ceiling is high for him. If the stars align. like you said, he's not somebody that I think most people would pick as somebody to break out as a big potential big star for the main roster, but I think it could work. Like we have big guys on the main roster that are kind of in that gatekeeper role, like a Baron Corbin. Well, Baron Corbin's gone, but I mean, using him as an example, Baron Corbin, Kane. But I don't know. There aren't as many as there used to be. And I feel like the ones that they have kind of been defined down a little bit. So I don't know. He could certainly fit into that role pretty well. In terms of this vignette tonight, I liked it, but for Josh Briggs, I want to hear his promos feel more authentic and kind of true to himself. And this was obviously very scripted, very produced, and nothing necessarily wrong with that. But because of the nature of his character and kind of how angry he gets and things like that, I'd rather hear the raw emotion from something that is less scripted than a scripted promo where, you can tell he's being fed lines or he's reading off a teleprompter or something like that. So yeah, other than that though, I dig it. I dig where where his trajectory is going, and kind of hope we'll see him hit the main roster and kind of flourish sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I think that I compared Briggs to a potential could fill the role that Corbin was playing, but a better wrestler than Corbin. And I did bring up Corbin because talk went to we talked a lot about the Bronze and how I still think that Bronson Reed is a considerably better Braun than Braun Breaker. And I think Braun Breaker's fine, but I just don't like him as much as WWE seems to. And I did end up talking about how my favorite thing that Breaker did ever by far was the Breaker and Corbin tag team that I thought made both guys just so much fun to watch with their young asshole and old, just like, oh my God, I'm so tired of you guy tag team. It was my favorite thing they both did. And it's not even close. I would have followed that tag team to the ends of the earth. Ryan Solorio asked if we heard about the Masha Slamovich domestic abuse. I hadn't, and while Nate was talking, I looked it up, and it ain't great for Masha, and that explains why she was not on this episode. I didn't even think about it because I don't spend a lot of time thinking about TNA when I'm not watching NXT, so it didn't even occur to me. And even if it had occurred to me, I would have said, okay, not her turn to be on screen, and or maybe it wasn't important enough to get her on screen. But yeah, she whatever. I don't know. No good. I won't comment on it now. I will just say it's unfortunate, and it's unfortunate timing on top of that, considering TNA's in a position to be bigger than they have been in a really, really long time.
Yeah.
Okay. So
yeah, I don't really have it. I just found out about it myself with Ryan's comment, and I did the same thing while Kelly was talking, looked it up, and yeah, it doesn't sound good, but again, we'll see what happens as time goes on.
Okay, a couple of backstage things happened. Okay, Ricky Saints hung around New Orleans, talked to some people, slapped some hands. I didn't start typing about this right away because I saw just a bunch of cityscapes and didn't notice Ricky right away. So I was tuned out. And then I was like, oh God, wrestling is on. I have to start commenting on this. So I only saw the tail end of this. But it looked like it was just humanizing him ahead of his championship. Nate, anything to add?
No, pretty much. I feel like it's just kind of giving us some more backstory on who he is, his life, showing where he came from, his house that's no longer there and is now just a small field or yard or something. So yeah, I think it's just kind of to build him up a little bit and kind of get some get some babyface sympathy on him before you going into the match.
C. Repture says, was Ash/Dana there tonight? The one woman I recognized was, I think, Alicia Edwards. Both members of the Iconics were there, the Inspiration, who are Cassie Lee and something. But, you know, the former Billy Kay and Peyton Royce, they were both there. But they both changed their hair. And Xia Li was there, but she's Lei Yi Ling. I have only seen her name once or twice.
It's
but her
hard to
hair is so
pronounce.
different. Her hair is so different that you actually might not know who you're seeing right away. So she was there too. And Xia Brookside is somebody you would recognize if you had watched every episode of NXT UK like I did for some damn reason. But I did. So Xia Brookside was on there as well. So I actually recognized all the women, but that more has to do with the stupid amount of wrestling that I eat. So, okay. Lyra Valkyria and Tatum Paxley talked about losing friends. Lyra had a money line in this that was really funny. What did she say in this? Oh no, Nate, you're not helping me.
Was it where she was like, I need you or something like that?
Oh, she said, you're crazy, but you're consistently crazy.
Oh, yes.
Or consistently weird, which is what I need. And then Izzy Dame said, she'll just leave you again. So there was that. Kelly Kincaid talked to Javon. That is where Jasmine Nix was laid out. Jada Parker had a backstage hype segment where she cut a promo on Lash. And why is Jada not on the main roster? I don't know. Rob Stone and Stevie Turner were on this show a few times because Ava wasn't there. So win-win. Stevie Turner's doing such a good job as the GM on Evolve, and Rob Stone is pretty funny as the color man on Evolve, along with Peter Rosenberg. It's a pretty good team. So I'm like 3, maybe even 4 episodes back now. I've really got to, now that I'm back home and I got 2 days off coming. I'll catch up on Evolve, but so hopefully nothing I'm saying is out of date. But there you go. Oh, and Ricky Saints in New Orleans. I don't know if you mentioned anything else there, but,
Not
but there
really.
you go.
Yeah,
Frankie
I mean,
Marion and Eric Young, they were both on there.
yeah,
a
we
few
saw
times.
them in the crowd.
Yep.
Yeah. No, not a whole lot really to say there. Jasmine Nix getting laid out. I'm really curious to see what happens with that because of what JC Jane said right afterwards. Like, it was time to let her go anyway, or something to that effect. I forget the exact words that she used. And just kind of let her lay there rather than worrying about her well-being or anything like that. So I'm kind of assuming that next week. Or the next time we see Jasmine, if they play this off as that vicious of an attack where she's off TV for a week or so, I think or actually, now that I think about it, maybe even No Mercy. Maybe she comes in and, like costs a match or something, along those lines. Or cost Jace the match or something like that. Yeah, and not much to say on anything else. I talked a little bit about the Lyra and Tatum angle already with the Bailey stuff. So yeah, I think I'm good.
Steve Repture says Laney did it, and at the risk of giving it away, yeah, she definitely did. That is why they had the other scene with Laney Reed. She fits into the JC Jane mold more than the other two do. So does Fallon stay in it or not? I guess that's the big question. Does Fallon go babyface? Where I think Fallon can do either pretty well. I think she is being undervalued right now after a period of being properly valued. But I think we get her babyface again, and we have a couple of Fallon and Jasmine matches against JC and Laney.
Yep,
And
I can
why
see
the heck
that.
not? But yes, probably did it. I think that is everything that we saw on this show. It sure is. So there we
Sounds
go.
good.
It really was a fun flagship with Wade this last week. Check it out if you haven't. It's it was fun stuff. Talking big picture, talking about a lot of main roster things, a lot of NXT things, of course, because I'm one of the ones he leans on to talk about that, and just a little about AEW and some stuff like that. So cool stuff there. And then Friday, I believe, and I'm not certain yet, but I think I am hosting the SmackDown post show. Wade definitely won't be, and I think I will be. So we can talk SmackDown and CJ. We can talk about Bayley then, because I'll be. Oh wait, she won't be on Friday, will she?
Nope,
Probably
Monday.
not. So, but I'll be able to talk about somebody else on Friday. So there you go. And I'm Kelly Wells, and you can find me on social media at other Kelly Wells or at Spooky Milk Nate.
And if you haven't caught the WrestlePalooza post show, I hosted Wrestling Night in America alongside Kevin Catani and David Miller. We talked all about the infamous WrestlePalooza episode on ESPN for the very first time, and all of that came with that, good and bad, whether it be the app or the actual show itself. But we had a lot of fun talking about WrestlePalooza. So if you haven't seen it, check it out. I'm Nate Lindberg. Check the things I do out at natelindberg.com.
Here's folks. We'll see you in we'll see you in 5.
Well, we'll see VIP members in 5.
Oh, there you go. How dare you muddle up my ending?
I mean, that's what I do. Horseshoe.